Okay, hello everyone. First of all, welcome to the afternoon session. I know everyone is quite full, but this is going to be the digestive that you needed for a proper longevity diet. So basically, my name is Pedro Henrique. I'm from Portugal, and I'm the head of investment in Vitalia. And here we are going to be talking about Superhumans, Immortals, Digi ghosts, Cyborgs, a lot of interesting stuff that we are currently investing on. So we have some kind of real-world expertise connected to this. So I hope you enjoy. So basically, I always start by using this graph from Ray Kurzweil to understand something. This is the keystone. Evolution is non-linear. So progress, most of the time, is faster than we understand. And throughout the universe, there's been 6 main epochs of development. The first one, with the atoms and structures, fundamental ones, it would take billions of years for us to see something. Then with the first life forms, with the DNA, we started realizing that the change of progress went for millions of years, hundreds of millions. Then with brains, tens of hundreds of thousands. And then ultimately, in this epoch number 4 that we are right now, we're starting to see evolution happening in a faster period. The most important key intake from this is that there is an acceleration in terms of evolution, and we are living through it. But this manifests in mainly 3 types of life form right now. We have life 1.0. We're talking about bioorganisms that have 0 on what they say regarding their hardware, so their bodies, or their software, so how they have developed mental models. Life 2.0 enables these living entities to be able to define their software, so their culture, the mental models, science, stuff like that allow us to interact with the world. And Life 3.0 allows us to change not only mental models, but also hardware. We can start changing our physical aspects. And this is what we're going to speak a little bit today over here. Life 3.0, and we are going to talk about some of these products. Product number 1, humans, Homo sapiens, basic, so us naked. Usually, one of the things that you say to people when they are going to talk on stage is imagine the audience naked. In this particular case, imagine me naked. Humans 1.0, Homo sapiens, that's the basics of human evolution. Then with culture, we start getting upgraded. We get equipment points. And you can go from a medieval knight that goes around hacking and slashing as he wants, or Harry Potter fanboys. Still, it's Life 2.0. We only start going to the next level of evolution when we actually go to Life 3.0, to a moment that we are able to enhance our status, we can enhance our qualities. And I don't know, anyone's played here Cyberpunk on the computer? All right, maybe you recognize me over here. This was a picture that I would take for the game. In this particular case, you can enhance your body with the cybernetics, or even your intelligence, or your vision. So this is done through gene editing and other bioenhancement techniques. And if you don't trust it's me, so this was me prepping before coming here, with my tutors. So it's true, that's the same person, no doubt about it. But this topic is serious to a point that is being actually defined by UN and by NATO as one of the key strategic elements that we need to be considering for the next couple of years, because human enhancement allows humans to go beyond the limits at the natural base, in the natural format. So we are living right now a revolution based on the words of Yuval Harari, the guy that wrote Sapiens, a nice book. And he says that with the merge of infotech and biotech, so computational, big data, and biosensors that allow us to understand how we behave, we are finally able to hack biology. So, and this is the basic for human enhancement. We are living through the capacity to define the direction of evolution. And it's going to happen in a way that's way faster than it happened before, because now we are in charge of it. Some interesting stepping stones regarding that are the Human Genome Project. We mapped all human genome. CRISPR, that allows us to manipulate our genes. Also, genomics and bioinformatics are a consequence of these 2 first achievements that allowed for synthetic bio, so the capacity to alterate bioorganisms to do something that you're not naturally designed for. And gene therapies are one of example. So basically right now we are living through an incredible revolution regarding human potential and biological potential that you are living right now over here around the world. This is happening already. So it's happening, but it is not happening at the speed that we might enjoy. Because right now most of this development is being bottlenecked by regulation. So gene therapies already exist, cybernetics already exist, but they are illegal. Most places in the world, it's illegal to do these kind of things in humans, unless you go to a clinical trial or through FDA approval. But these processes take a decade to be approved, and you spend billions of dollars, and only 1 in 1,000 startups or companies go through this process successfully. And not because the technology is not there, but because it's a bureaucratic, slow, outdated system. And this is what we're trying to change right now. How can we get it in a most efficient way? Because regulation is not bad. Over-regulation is bad. And I understand that the goal of these systems are to protect the public, but so the FDA says that in a decade they save around 10,000 lives because they were able to stop a bad drug to go to the market. But some studies say that the same number of people die because they could not have access to treatments that were still under progress. So, and these numbers may be even bigger. People are currently right now dying because treatments are too slow to go to market. So we want to change that. Because this silent symmetry, we don't see it, but it exists. And may even be even bigger if also we count the treatments that ameliorate our quality of life that is not being considered. For that, ta-da, Prospera and Vitalia. So we are, Prospera is a special economic zone that exists in Honduras, in the island of Roatan, the Caribbean. And they have a special economic zone. We are in a special economic zone that tries to mitigate some of these bottlenecks in terms of regulation. Our goal is to create a longevity crypto city that is focused on longevity, life extension, and the capacity to mitigate some of these bottlenecks. It's super exciting, and it's actually happening right now. We are building it, it exists. So this is mostly done by eliminating bureaucracy to the minimum. We give more emphasis on safety instead of efficacy. Efficacy is a concern of marketing. Safety is what is important, and this is also leveraged by the right to try and sovereign autonomy. So, and the actual consequence of that is that in Vitalia, we are building a startup society that accelerates biotech development. Right now, we have startups doing gene therapy that went to market in 1 year instead of 10 years and billions. 1 year, they are already operating. It's incredible. 1 year! So this makes the process way faster. Thank you. The process becomes faster because you are able to monetize in 1 year. You also offer the possibility for entrepreneurs in biology to consider entrepreneurship as a valid option because they don't need to wait 10 years. So it means that not only it's faster, but you also enlarge the pipeline. There's more people that want to come. The benefit of that is that the iteration cycles become shorter and faster. So we get, through competition, through proper regulatory systems, we enable for solutions that are actually meaningful in biotech. And this is an incredible place to be alive right now. And so let's try to understand some of the examples that already exist. Let's understand what are the main character builds. What can we improve in ourselves right now with technology that exists, with startups that we work with? Superheroes. Okay, and if you want super strength, increased intellect, or even enhanced vision, these things are becoming possible. We have 2 startups that we are working with, Minicircle and Unlimited Bio, that enable for stronger muscle tissues that last longer, don't deteriorate so fast. So we can already enhance your power, get buffed, like me. Maybe I'm not the best example for the buffed. But also, we are working, these startups already exist. They are in Roatan, in Vitalia, in Prospera. We also are working with Bootstrap Bio, a startup that we invested on, that their goal is to do gene therapies to increase intellect, to to increase cognitive capacity. It's being worked on. And finally, some examples that are super basic. We also have enhanced vision. There's a project that we are flirting with, still early stages, first dates, buying flowers. We are getting a little bit difficult to bring, but we are playing around, fooling around in a proper manner, flirting. This project would not only allow to cure color blindness, but also would allow to increase our spectrum of colors. So right now we see around 1 million colors. With this project, we would see 100 million. 100 million. That's actually something happening right now. There's people that exist that have this condition. We'll do the same thing. This is enhancement. This exists. And if none of these superpowers convinced you, what about hair growth? Some startups already allow, Unlock Bio, allows for us to do some kind of treatments that get stronger hair. I was completely bald before I went to Vitalia. Look at this hair, huh? Fantastic. But we have more stuff, not only in the realm of superheroes. We also have cyborgs. Of course, we need to talk about cyborgs. And we have a startup that invested called Symbiont Labs that they do subcutaneous implants. Most of all, these solutions currently are aesthetic and have some limited functionalities, but they are mostly concerned with, for example, managing our identity. You can get chips implanted that you carry with you the access keys to everything that you own instead of having it on your phone. So it's safer. But it can go beyond that. We are working in the potentiality of developing continuous blood monitoring systems and glucose monitoring that would try to trigger and let you know when there's a potential problem with your health before it even happens. And this is the early steps for us to move to something more complex, like BCIs, brain-computer interfaces. The most famous one is Neuralink. Everyone knows about, who doesn't know about Neuralink here? Please raise your arm. All right, everyone knows about Neuralink. Neuralink just put the first human implants recently, but it's still in clinical trials. Most of these implants, when the clinical trial is done, they need to be removed from people. And I've been talking with some startups that they actually did some BCIs, intraspinal, that actually alleviate people that are paralyzed. They would regain some motor capacity that they didn't have before. The problem is they use it for 1 year or 2, and then out. You gain capacities for them, then for you to lose them again. Why? We can do this in Vitalia as the base of the study, and you can keep your BCIs. You can actually improve people's lives by finding proper regulations for people that have real problems. Being paralyzed, imagine that you regain motor control at least a little bit, doesn't matter, incremental, even if it's marginal, it's significant. And then you lose it again. And we can go around that. We can provide better conditions for these kind of trials or for these kind of people in these kind of environments. But we can also build on top of that. These BCIs allow, for example, for other startups like UCAT, another company that we are working with. UCAT, they allow through BCIs, for example, you cannot speak. You have a speech impairment, or you are completely paralyzed also. So UCAT allows to map your brain activity when you try to speak, and they create models that replicate your speech patterns by teaching AI 1 word at a time. So basically what happens is, after a period of integration, of onboarding, you are able to translate thoughts into words. You can speak by thinking. Fantastic. You can speak by thinking. That's fantastic for us, normies. So imagine that you're paralyzed and you didn't say anything to your family in years. You cannot talk with your friends. Imagine if Stephen Hawking would have that. Man, he would become an amazing rapper or hip-hopper. It would change potentially his career. I don't know. But it's a brave new world that we are building here. Sorry, and we're talking about cyborgs, so this is my friend Keanu. I just wanted to show some pictures. He was in Aleph, by the way. Different people. Another interesting topic, Sorry, I get super excited about these topics. I start even walking around and sweating because this is so interesting. And now we are going to one of the topics that for us, it's closer to our heart. So we're going to be talking about immortality. Is immortality possible? No, sorry. Not in a traditional concept of immortality. So immortality would assume that we could not die, we'd be immortal. And we don't want that. We want the possibility to choose when or how to die. Because even if you are able to mitigate aging, you can still get hit by a car. There's no, any kind of therapies can mitigate the weight of a truck. So basically, when we talk about immortality, we are focusing on radical life extension or pseudo-immortality. And there are a couple of ways to potentially reach that. And that's yes, it's if you're talking about that, it's possible, probably. So, what are the main paths towards immortality? Plan A, biotech. All the things that we're exploring, from gene therapies to body replacement. We didn't touch a lot about that, but we can talk about it soon. Those are some of the ways that we're trying to paving forward to get into to eliminate aging. But there's two other ways. So if you're not sure if you are going to make it or not, you can click pause and you can do cryonics. You can simply, it's a fancier burial system that you freeze yourself. You freeze and you wait for the possibility or either A, happens and they solve aging or the disease that killed you or was almost killing you, or C, something else appears. And this something else, it's a path that I actually like a lot. It's the most sci-fi one, but it's still a possibility that we need to consider. It's called cryptonics. Cryptonics is mostly aims to create digital consciousness. And there's two main paths of doing that. One of them is a neurocentric approach that we would get your brain mapped and replicated on a machine. And then you have another approach that is called data-centric, that instead of trying to replicate the way you operate right now, you forget about it and you just collect everything that exists about yourself and put it in a place that is secure. Biological data, digital footprint, biometrics, your genome, everything, your memories, what you write, what you see, what you hear, everything integrated in one space. Because this assumes that eventually AI is going to become aware or intelligent or conscious, and it's only a question of data points to be able to replicate you. If it's you, if it's not you, that's not the point right now, but it's a possibility that even if it doesn't work, even if cryptonics don't work, you can use the same information. Simply, you are frozen because it's plan B. You can use the same avatar based on information to be the best person to onboard to the world of tomorrow. It's been 10,000 years, and you have no idea how to be reacclimated to the new world. Maybe even though you are not conscious on a machine, maybe this AI can still help you on board the new role that you are working. So there's some utility on that. And even if plan B doesn't work, forget about it. Still, this data-centric approach is fundamental for the development of biotech right now, to preventive continuous models to understand, well, for continuous medicine, so you can identify disease before it appears, or even to be used on developing more computational, strong, and futuristic models to, that allows biotech development. And basically, this is what you're seeing over here. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit more, on Wednesday, sorry, about some of the biotech approaches, what are the main bottlenecks in this approach for immortality. We're going to talk about advanced bioengineering, focused a lot on computational power. We're going to talk about clones, and how you can use, for example, printed hearts and the cloned hearts or other organs to replace yourself. And we can also talk a little bit about how much would it cost to actually bring this to fruition, because it's not completely ridiculous. The numbers that we need to make this reality are feasible. So it's a question right now of finding funding. So to close, because I know it's a lot of at least weird information for some, I'm going to close by making a little bit of a overview of what we talked. So I believe personally that there's three things that are going to be changing the world in the next couple of years. Yuval Harari was talking about the computational revolution and the biotech revolution. I think it's not only that. So the next three things, and I call it human enrichment revolution. In short, human enrich, that coincidentally spells my name, Henrik. So it's the Henrik revolution. And basically what you're doing over here is three main trends that are changing the world right now. First one, biotech and human enhancement. This is happening. Second, AI and AGI. Everyone knows about AI and AGI right now. It's the trend. ChatGPT, LLMs, those are the buzzwords that everyone is talking about. What most people are forgetting is that even if it's biotech or AI, the cornerstone of this revolution, it's data. Personal data. Private data. So crypto has an amazing fundamental role to play in this ecosystem. The crypto revolution is also one of the key elements to enable this to happen. That's why us, Vitalia, are building a city exactly for this revolution. Humans 3.0, that is based on biotech enhancement, AI leveraging, and crypto infrastructures. So I end this talk, because this is an exponential rhythm of evolution, I end this talk inviting all of you that want to build real-world longevity crypto cities to join us at vitalia.city. I hope to see you soon. Let's build together. Thank you very much.
I was to say, please, a round of applause to Pedro, but you already have it. ¿Alguien tiene una pregunta para Pedro? ¿Alguien? Someone has a question for Pedro?
You can join the Vitalia movement at vitalia.city. Super simple, vitalia.city. Or come visit us directly in Roatan. You can fly there. Another question over there? Hello.
Hola, Pedro. Hi.
Hola.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. It's very overwhelming in some points, yes. So my question is, how do you envision this technology to help our species survive? The entire human species. As it's needed to think that in everything that you said, for me, it's just maybe it's a very small amount of people who would be privileged to access to this kind of technology that you mentioned, and how that would be enhancing the whole human population, taking into account that the diversity, the genetic diversity of us is very low, actually. So, and we just had the COVID epidemics. That was a demonstration of that. A lot of people, millions of people died. So that would be my question. Rather than just thinking about the individual access to longevity and being an immortal, how all this technology do you think that would help our species to survive?
All right. So first of all, with the advent of AI and genomics, we understand better some of the bio threats that are emerging. So for example, by understanding how our individual organism behaves with a certain disease, we are more likely and better to use the technologies available to combat the same disease. So that would tackle a little bit about the biodiversity and the challenge that you're regarding COVID and genetic disease. That's what your goal, one of the main topics?
My goal is that, assuming that you are testing all this technology in a very, very, I believe, homogenic group, you know?
I would not say if it's homogenic. So
it does take into account the whole human diversity.
So when you are developing a drug, the drugs are not usually, there's several stages of development. Earlier stages are focused on smaller groups that are more or less homogeneous, but they try not to be. But as you scale, you try to mitigate that by including as much people as possible from diverse backgrounds. So all this technology, the process of clinical development includes this at its core. It's a normal framework to mitigate that it's biased towards only one race or one gender. So we try to eliminate that. And so maybe your question would be related with who has access to this kind of solutions and technologies.
And my point is, what's the point to have like a vision of 1,000? You said 1,000 different colors?
Yes.
For survival. Because the point being is not just longevity of the one person, but the survival of the species.
Yeah.
And it has to be inheritable. You have to be able to inherit that trait to your offspring so you can survive.
Okay.
So my question is, it's great that we are seeing everything but how this is improving the human species survival as a whole, like as a group.
So basically, if you are able to identify what are the reasons why humans die, you understand what are the genetic reasons that make us more fragile. Through gene therapy or some kind of bioenhancement, you can eliminate that. So it means that most of the species become stronger, generally speaking, if this is a solution that is spreadable for all the population. Okay? So the first aspect is, can we do it? And through biotechnology, we can get the answer to yes, you can do it. The second question is, can everyone do it? Can everyone has access to that? So it's a question of cost efficiency. So with cost efficiency, some of these trends, mostly the ones regarding with AI, they try to scale some of these solutions to the most, to the way that is most cost efficient for everyone to have access to it. And one of the things that potentially can happen with automation, for example, in the futuristic city where AI takes place, is that the marginal cost of development goes so down that a lot of these things are almost free to develop. So we are talking about a futuristic city that we don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but if all these pieces take and go into place, like biotech development and AI development, not only would have access to things to solve most of the diseases and most of the aging and most of pandemics and the possibility to produce food in mass scale, not only would solve that, as always would make these solutions so cheap that everyone could afford that. So bioenhancement and technology enhancement and progress in general usually alleviate and ameliorate human life without a question.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the talk, very enjoyable. I think we're all here because we all believe in the future, and it's easy to tell you that, great talk and great plans. But just to play the devil's advocate, in the area that you're working in, I think there'll be a lot of ethical questions. How do you govern ethical questions? What kind of committees do you have?
Okay, that's a really interesting question. And if you want to talk a little bit about bioethical questions, we are going to have a panel in this afternoon that is going to touch some of these points with Nicholas, that is over here, also from Vitalia. I have 2 minutes now. It's a little bit a short time to be able to advocate and talk about most of the ethical questions so what are the consequences of people living for 1,000 years? What about ossification of structure of power? What about if AI develops so much that human marginality, marginal economic value goes to zero and basically we are worthless? Those are some of the questions that we need to build on them. But because stopping progress doesn't going to solve these questions. The questions are going to exist. So what we do, we invite in Vital, that's our way to try to mitigate some of these points that are going to appear eventually. We invite everyone from all kinds of backgrounds, for all kinds of experience, with all different kind of ideologies to come and discuss these ideas. So one of our principles is radical tolerance. So we like free speech, we like liberty, and we like to discuss about the things that are good regarding our plans, and especially we like to talk about the things that might be bad and hinder our vision. So the only thing that I can do with a little short time that I have over here is to invite all of you guys to follow us, to comment on our posts, to read our articles, and to come visit us physically and collaborate, discuss. Let's engage in a productive discussion about the future of humanity. And with this, I thank everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.